iPhone, great question. I will touch on that in just a few moments. I actually do a credit building or credit boosting webinar as well too. So I'll give you a link to that. But it depends. Someone's asking a question. Can you do something if you are in bankruptcy? So the answer is, if you are in a chapter, is it a chapter 13 or a chapter 7? If you're in a chapter 13 and you've made 12 payments to it, yes, you can. If it's a chapter 7, you have to wait till 2 years after the discharge date. But I go over that in detail because it seems to be a big talking point for a lot of people that gravitate to me. And there are some ways to get quick bounces in your scores. So I've actually was down that road myself several years ago after a business failure. So I understand how to rebuild your credit. Got it. iPhone chapter 13. If you've been in that chapter 13 and made 12 months payments to the trustee, yes, you could qualify for down payment assistance and grant programs. All right. Welcome, Facebook and YouTube friends. Appreciate it. All right. Got some addresses here. Good. All right. It is a little after 7 o'clock. And let me get over to the right screen. We are going to jump into things. Thank you all very much for attending this evening. I always appreciate you taking time out of your evening, especially in the summertime. You know, we don't have too many of these days left in Michigan. It was a beautiful day today. So, oh, by the way, if you have any questions as we click along this evening, please put them in the chat box. So what I'm going to do is I will go through and go back over all the questions before we break this evening. And I'll try to answer as many of the questions as I can as things go along. So let's just jump right into it. So my promises to you this evening, there is no sales pitch here. I am 100% about educational content. So there are a few things that we're going to go over this evening. Number one, I'm going to teach you how to tap into over 23, it's actually up to 2,500 different programs that are currently available. So those are down payment assistance programs, grants, things like that. I'm actually going to give you a link to a website that we've launched. My app just launched yesterday on the Google Play Store, and it's called No Down Payment. We're actually going to be launching one on the, Apple Store. That's probably another couple of weeks out, but just the same, you can actually download the app to see what programs you could qualify for. So we're going to go through what that app entails and how you basically, it's just as easy as putting in an address, and it will basically email you instantly a list of all the programs that a particular property or area qualifies for. Second thing, we're going to go over the qualifications that a lot of these programs have. What does it take to get approved? And then after that, we're going to briefly go over how we structure transactions to get in with just a few $1,000s out of pocket. I typically tell people you only need about $2,000 to $3,000 out of pocket. Now, if you're tight for money and we need to pencil it, we can actually get you in with less than that. Okay. I actually had somebody that today they were looking at a $125,000 house. We're going to get them in there for $1,500. Okay. It can be done. I just need to know your budget. And without fail, I always have a couple of people that, really weren't planning on buying. They just realized that, hey, wow, I can get all this money for the down payment and the closing costs. So we can work it out as the process goes along too. So I just need to know what your budget is, and we can usually work something out. I'm also going to show you how do we identify quality homes and find quality homes to the point where it's not so much of a bidding war. Okay. So there's a few secrets that I have with regards to identifying good quality homes that are out there. And how do you find good quality experienced help and representation to help you every step of the way. So we're going to touch on that as well too. So I always tell people, follow my steps and I will get you there regardless of credit. Okay. I understand there's always messes that pop up in people's lives, and a lot of people have credit challenges. I'm very sensitive to that. In fact, I do a credit building webinar teaching people how to get their credit scores up 60 points in 60 days. Now, the next one I'm doing, I think, is the beginning of August. So let me put that in the chat box right now. There it is. There's a link to my credit building webinar. So take me up on it. Some great tools out there to get a boost in your credit. I basically always chatter up that, hey, 60 points in 60 days is not a very challenging issue or a very challenging goal for me. So I'll give you a feel for some of the people that we've worked with recently. Here is a lady, Emily. Emily is probably one of my all-time favorite stories, and the reason she is she would not be denied. She just knew that the house that she walked through, this one on Freeland, it was going to be her forever house, and she basically willed it across the finish line. Now, Emily was able to qualify for a $25,000 grant from the city. We piggybacked that with a 3% grant towards her down payment, a $5,000 grant for closing costs, and $500 grant to cover her appraisal. So all in, she qualified for $33,134. So at the time I met her, we only needed $500 to get things going, and then she only needed $200 at the time of closing. So very, very happy for Emily. I want to give you a feel of the inside of what Emily's house was, because a lot of times people just see the outside and they think that that's it. No, this was a solid brick ranch. Let me give you a feel for it. If you look inside, you can see, hey, fireplace, carpet was in good shape. This home had been in the same lady's name for many years. And just a good hardwood floors. Kitchen was not brand new, but it wasn't original. So in my mind, fairly updated. But when I look at a house, I look at the bones. I'm looking at the roof. I want to make sure that roof has got some life left in it, that it doesn't need a ton of updates. The basement's dry, things like that. So as you go through, you can see it was probably an older person that was living there, but just the same, it was very well maintained. And I'm all over the city of Detroit. I'm actually located in southeastern Michigan. But as we go in through this house, look in the basement here. How often do you see a carpeted basement and it doesn't look like there was ever a lick of water in this basement? And there was a full bathroom in the basement too. So this is probably only about 1% of all houses that I ever run into in the city have basements that are this dry. So extremely happy for Emily, and forever will be thankful to her for letting me be part of her transaction. So anyway, so that is Emily. Let me take you through to the next slide we have here. So, all right, so who is this evening designed for? It's basically for people that are tired of renting, people that are tired of watching landlords increase their rents arbitrarily, not getting value for those rents, not doing repairs on the houses as they need or the apartments as they need. People that are tired of dealing with slumlords, or people that are tired of the question of whether or not their lease is going to get renewed, or what happens a lot of times, the landlords sell it right out from underneath you. So, and actually I had a lady a couple of weeks ago that said she was just tired of paying off her landlord's mortgage payment. I thought that was pretty good. And then a couple of days ago, I had a lady that actually said she just wanted to show her kids that there was more to renting, that she works hard, that she could actually purchase something. So she wasn't doing it for herself, because she was actually only paying like $800 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment along Joy Road. But she wanted to show to her kids that she could do a little bit better than that. So she was basically looking to lift up that next generation. So that really struck a chord with me, and was very happy to help her. Here's another example of one of the houses that we've recently done. This was actually for Daniel. Daniel was actually purchasing his mother's house. Mom passed away and left the house to 3 kids. And then Daniel actually bought out the 2 kids, or his 2 siblings, his 2 sisters, actually. So Great transaction. We were able to tap into a $25,000 down payment, grant. That grant actually covered the down payment and all the closing costs. So he got in with zero money out of pocket. That's a rarity, but it does happen. So this was actually a nice 2-story brick home on Mark Twain in Detroit. All right. Next thing, my goal for you this evening. The big thing is I like to make sure you are going to start to gain some confidence that you can actually get it done, that there are programs out there that will fit your situation and cover most of the money and give you the knowledge that you can get this done. And like I said, the confidence that you can get it done. I always tell people, please take some time, book a strategy call with me. Whether your goals are 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years, it doesn't matter to me. I've been doing these webinars for probably over 3 years now. So once you're in my system, you're going to start getting updates every time I do a new webinar. But here's a link I just put in the chat box. It's a link to my calendar. I invite you to please schedule a strategy call. Whether we're going to talk about maybe lifting your credit up, what is it going to take to get into something? How do we structure the deals? Doesn't really matter. What I really like to do on these calls is learn your situation, put myself in your shoes, and just tell you what I would do. Okay? No pressure. Like I said, whether it's 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, doesn't matter. We just need to figure out some type of go forward plan so we can get you on the path to home ownership. The other thing I want to cover this evening is I want to dispel a lot of common beliefs. Typically there are three, there's more, but there's three main components that a buyer has to work with when they're purchasing a home. Number one, they think that they need to have a lot of money to put down and to buy a home. Number two, they think they have to have good credit. And number three, they don't think they can do something with fixed income. But when you're looking for a house, I get it. Income's apart, credit's apart, and so is money. Those are the big things. Now, when it comes to the money, I always tell people that's my job. And the reason I say that is I'm going to give you the tools where you can see all of the down payment assistance programs that are currently out there. That's why I asked you for some addresses earlier. What we're going to do is we're going to run some live scenarios. I'm going to put a couple of addresses, enter them, and then I'll show you all the programs that it qualifies for, the amounts it qualifies for, and then we'll go into how we structure some of those transactions. Okay? So keep in mind, I know it sounds odd, but the money is my job. So if you've just got a few, $2,000-$3,000 out of pocket, it's easy for me to get the rest of it. Okay. Now, do you have to have good income or good credit? Not necessarily. I always tell people if your credit scores are above a 580, there are programs out there today we can get you into. If your credit scores aren't quite there, let's just say they're in the mid 500s, you should still be scheduling a call with me because there are tools, especially on my credit repair webinars, where I can get your credit scores up in 30 days, no doubt. And then if your credit scores are in the low 500s, well, we should still probably talk because we probably want to set the foundation and give you a timeline as far as how long is it going to take to get your credit where it needs to be. Okay? Now, if you're on a fixed income, there are ways to structure transactions to get you across the finish line. Remember the lady I talked to you about a few moments ago, Emily? She was on a fixed income. In fact, 2 or 3 of the people I'm going to show you this evening are on fixed incomes. So don't let anybody tell you it can't be done. Is it a little bit more challenging? Yes. Sometimes it's threading a needle depending upon what you're looking for. But I always tell people patience and persistence, and we will get there. Okay. I wish I could say I had control over the timeline, but I've learned a long time ago, it's not up to me. I offer that up. Okay. There's my timeline and there's his timeline. And the more I bow to his timeline, the happier man I am. So anyway, don't think money can hold you back. Good credit or a fixed income. We can work with all of those things. I routinely help people obtain their home buying goals using a lot of these programs and grants. Now, my only asks for you this evening, number 1, Facebook, and number 2, YouTube. I'm going to put these in right now. So here is my Facebook page. I am really trying to get my Facebook followers up to 1,000. I think I'm at 300 right now. So anything you could do to further the cause there, I appreciate it. If you ever want to see any of my webinars, they stream on YouTube all the time. Okay, go to my YouTube channel, Own the Roof, and you'll see a lot of content out there. We're trying to post as much as we possibly can, as quickly as we can. But I stream on Facebook and YouTube the same time as I'm streaming right now. Okay. And then the third thing I want to ask you is if you have any friends, family members, anyone you think of that's renting and is not happy with their rental situation, please do me a favor, pass my contact information along, okay? I get some people that have been following me. Heck, I did a webinar not last week, but 2 weeks ago. And I try to do them once a month where I invite everyone that's ever been to my webinars back. And gosh, last time we had like 100 people. And I had it probably, I think one person had been following me 5 years. He'd been watching me. And hasn't picked up the phone yet, but just did. You'll see a lot of people follow me a couple of years, and I get it. The thing is, a lot of people think that this stuff is too good to be true, and I understand it. There's a lot of shady characters out there, a lot of scams out there. That's why I tell people, I'm not asking for money. I'm asking to give you education, and when the time comes, just pick up the phone, reach out to me, okay? A lot of times, I'll meet people in person at the house. I have showing agents that go all over town opening houses and opening doors for people to let them in and take a look at it. But sometimes people want to see, I call it the gray hair. So a lot of the agents that I work with just say, hey, this lady wants to be the gray hair. So I'm starting to turn gray. So I just turned 60 this year. So the gray hair is certainly creeping in. All right. So here's another story. Here is one, Tashiana. Great story. She purchased a home on Rosemont. Okay, purchase price $123,000. She was able to tap into the $25,000 Detroit down payment assistance program. This program is out of money right now, but there's always new programs out there. There's actually one right now that's going up to $30,000. Okay, so she was able to take the $25,000. We used $20,000 as a down payment, $5,000 to cover her closing costs. At the time she made the offer, we only needed a $500 deposit, and then at closing, she just needed $1,041, okay? And what was nice about Tashiana's house, the inside was actually as nice, in my opinion, was nicer than the outside. Granite countertops, kitchen was redone, top to bottom, just a solid house. Actually, you know what? I think we've got, let me see if I can give you some photos. Where is the inside here? Maybe it's right there. Well, that's the bathroom. There, maybe not. I guess we don't have the interior pics. Okay, well, I guess I don't have the interior pictures there, but just the same, I can promise you the inside was just as nice as the out here. All right, next thing. I get a lot of people that ask, why do I do this? Okay. Well, I started doing this probably about 10 years ago. And the reason I started doing it, I ran ads on Craigslist, oddly enough, teaching people, hey, why rent when you can buy using these programs? And then about 3 years ago, maybe, I found these webinars. And now when I started doing the webinars, I can just help so many more people. So for me, it's not about the paycheck any longer. It's about helping as many people as I possibly can. So, see, the reason I say that is it wasn't too long ago, and it was actually, seems like yesterday, but it was actually about 13 years ago, I was renting, and it was all the way up till about 10 years ago when I finally bought again. But anyways, just to kind of give you a feel for my background, I was a typical baby boomer. I'm like born in 64, December 64, the last month of the baby boomers, okay? I was raised to think that success was defined by how much money we made, all the stuff that we could acquire, things like that. Very, very shallow mindset that way. And then what happened was I had a couple of businesses that were actually doing quite well. And then one day I woke up and the controller or the accountant for the company was embezzling. Next thing I know, my world is turned upside down. Everything went to hell right after that, or I thought it was hell. Little did I know it was his way of maybe righting the ship, because I wasn't the happiest person back then, because I was just chasing what I was raised to do, numbers, okay? With whatever, when we were kids, we were all about sports. You just had to be the best you could be. And then after being humbled that way, not by one business, I had another business, and that one went down a year later. Then I was really humbled. And what it did is it taught me that I needed to rebuild myself, rebuild my credit, rebuild my finances. I mean, it broke me financially, mentally, you name it, physically to that matter. My gosh, I was probably 30 pounds heavier than I am now. It broke me on so many levels. But then after losing my house, losing the business, I still, I have a wonderful wife of 35 years, 4 wonderful kids. Quitting wasn't an option. But what we did do is, after rebuilding my credit, I actually qualified for a down payment assistance program through the state of Michigan, and applied for it, or thought I did, through a lender. And what had happened was, a week before closing, the lender told me he didn't apply for it because we had a few dollars left in a savings account and we didn't need it. And still to this day, it bugs me that he made the decision for us to take the last few dollars we had for, closing costs and a down payment. But like I said, he has a way of humbling us. And what it did was it forced a light bulb to go on in my mind that, wait a second, these programs are out there and I couldn't get access to it. And let me give you a feel. I spent over 25 years in the mortgage world, real estate world, title insurance. I knew the industry, but still this person didn't give it to me because he didn't think I needed it. That's when the light bulb went on for me. I'm going back into real estate to teach people how to get into these programs with very little money out of pocket, and teach them how to build their credit in the process. So once I started doing that and coaching people up one by one, I found a level of happiness I never imagined, because I was actually helping, not lining my own pockets like I was raised to think was the right thing to do. So as a result, for me, it's not about lifting myself. It's about lifting others and making sure that everyone has a chance to tap into these down payment assistance programs and grants. So that's my why. That's why I do what I do. So anyways, I'll leave it at that. Hey, Jaquan Shorter, thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. I appreciate that. So, all right. So that's my story, and I roll by that every single day. So let's go into some of these topics that we talked about earlier. First and foremost, I want to let's go over this scenario. Here's another one. April actually purchased a home. This was actually on Philadelphia in Detroit. Okay. Her and her husband, James, I'll never forget. James, one of the funniest guys. He's actually a writer. He has probably 8 books under his belt on Amazon. He writes books about his childhood growing up in the city of Detroit. Not necessarily childhood, kind of teenage years. And I think James kind of ran with a tough crowd, because he takes all of these stories that he grew up with and turns these antics into like superheroes. And I think he's got at least 8 books under his belt. So, but anyways, they bought a house on Philadelphia. They qualified for the $25,000 grant. On top of it, we got a gift program for 3%, $5,000 closing costs, $500 for the appraisal. They got all the money, $32,900. And I think James' big goal was he wanted to keep his payments below $700. I didn't think he was ever going to do it, but you know what? He proved me wrong, and he found a good quality house that qualified, and his payments are down there. So, in fact, I just called James a couple of weeks ago because I am writing a book about teaching people how to tap into these down payment assistance programs and grants. So anyway, so he is actually teaching me how to write a book right now. So So I need to reach back out to him. But anyways, great story there. Now, the first thing I want to talk about with regards to the 5 topics I want to cover this evening. Number 1, down payment assistance versus grants. Now, ideally, grants are where we want to go first. Grants are free money. That's money you don't have to pay back. Down payment assistance programs typically have a repayment component with it, although about 50% of the down payment assistance programs forgive the loan as long as you own the house for 3 years. Some of them have repayment terms, a lot of them don't, so it changes quite a bit. And it's hard to pin it down and give you an exact thing because you're going to see in a moment, there are a lot of programs out there. So right now, here, for example, here's the app, nodownpayment.app, or if you go out to the Google Play Store, you can download just type in no down payment and you can download the app. Now, this is what it's going to look like when you get out there. Let me give you a feel. Let me get an address here. Okay, it's going to say no down payment when it's out there. Let's click, see if you're eligible. It's going to take you down to a screen where you can enter an address. I think here, this person put in an address. I don't know that they had a zip code. Let's see if it works without a zip code. Anybody know the zip code for Pontiac? Let's see. Okay, it will not come up without a zip code. Okay. 48205, I think that's an east side. Okay, so I need to have an address. Let's try this. If I just type in grants, or let's try Detroit. There you go, Detroit, Michigan. 23 programs. So there are currently 23 programs available in the city. Here, I'll enter my information, it automatically pops in there. Get details. Boom, it's going to be emailed to you instantly. Let me get you a feel for what's going to look like. Okay. And here we go. All right. This is what you're going to get. A list. 23 home buyer assistance programs available. I don't know if you can read that, up to $30,000 in Detroit. So if we go down, you can see all the different programs. Some are giving 25, 10,000, 5%, 3.5%. Here we go. Federal Home Loan Bank of New York has a home buyer dream program that's covered in the city of Detroit. It's a second mortgage, $30,000. Now, I don't know whether that is forgivable or not. I'd have to dive into the details. Here's another one. Federal Home Loan Bank of Des Moines. They've got a Home Start program offering $25,000. 25% from the Chicago Down Payment Plus program, 25% for Advantage Plus out of Chicago. So these are all programs that covered in the Detroit area. 20% down by Indianapolis Launch Program. Look at, this is a new one, Faith in Girls Home Buying Program, $20,000 assistance. Lots of money out there. National Faith. This one I think is out of money right now, up to 50% of the purchase price. I know that was the old Detroit program. That one is out of money right now. But as you can see, there are a lot of programs out there. Let's get another one here. Any other addresses anybody wants to put in the chat box? Okay. Oh, good. I don't think that zip code is going to work. Ampfer, yeah, I think if you're looking at Pontiac, it's going to be a 448 zip code. Okay, let's go back here. Here, let's try another one. I can give you let's try the address where I grew up. I always like that one. It's going to give us the same. I grew up at 16801 Lamphere in Detroit. 48219. 23 programs. It's going to be the same 23 I just put in for the city. Okay, let's try another area. Let's try what somebody was asking about Pontiac. Let's try that one. So if I type in Pontiac, Oakland County, 20 programs in Pontiac. Let's see what that one yields. Okay, and okay, here we go. In Pontiac, we've got 20 homebuyer assistance programs up to $30,000. So probably that same $30,000 was covered in Detroit. Federal Home Loan Bank of New York, Home Buyer, yes, the same program. So there's a lot of crossover, but doesn't always work that way. So a lot of programs out there. So I would encourage you, take some time, download my app, nodownpayment.app. That's nodownpayment.app, or just go out to the Google Play Store and type in No Down Payment, and you can download it right to your phone. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'll have it up on the Apple Store too, so you can look at it there. All right. Next thing. If you have any other addresses you want me to put in there, please go right ahead, type in some addresses. You got to have in the zip code. Hey, Alicia, that Eastwood got it 48205. It's going to be the same 23 programs in that zip code because I ran the 48205 for somebody earlier today. Okay. So what are the qualifications for these programs? All right. When it comes to applying for a loan, even these programs, there are several things they look at. The things that you have control over are your income. Okay. You have to have income to support the house payment. So they don't want to see more than 45% of your income going to your house payment and your overall debts. Now, what does that mean? Let's say, for example, you have income of, let's just say $4,000 a month. 45% of that's going to be $1,800 a month. So no more than $1,800 a month can go to your new house payment and the bills that are showing up on your credit report. Let's say you've got $1,800 minus, say, $400 for a car payment. Takes you down to $1,400. Maybe you've got $100 for credit cards or whatever else. Takes you down to $1,300. Right now, a $1,300 house payment is buying about a $150,000 house. It's buying a good quality brick home. And I am all about quality. There's one thing you'll see when you look at some of the houses. There are a lot of houses for sale out there. Okay. I do not like it when people buy headaches. Okay. I've been doing this too long. Headaches, the last thing I want is someone to call me after they bought a house and say, hey, John, guess what? We don't need that type of aggravation. And the banks, when they send the appraisers through, they want to make sure the house is in good shape too. So what I don't want to do is get you and your family excited for a move for a house that's less in quality. Okay. And when I say quality, I'm talking about a house that's got a good roof, a dry basement, a predictable house. Okay. Not some of the, I hate to say it, but lipstick that some of the people are throwing on houses right now. Not good. I don't care for that. I would rather buy, you give me a 1950s solid brick house, I'll take that any day. Okay. They're very, very predictable. Okay. Especially in southeastern Michigan. So I go back to my old neighborhood on Lamphere. I grew up in Brightmoor, basically. That's all that's left of the brick houses. The frame houses just don't stand the test of time. So any of you people that are from the Detroit area, you raised in the Detroit area, you know what I'm talking about. Brick is it. All right. So the next thing, income. So when it comes to income, if your income is W-2'd, which means they take the taxes out, okay, that's not a problem. Very easy to calculate. Okay. Like I said, they have some income restrictions, no more than 45%. They do want a 2-year history of income. Okay. Well, if you have a break in the employment, that's fine. Every now and then people get laid off, stuff happens, but we just have to, sometimes it could be 3 years. We just have to cover a 2-year employment history. If there's a 6-month gap, we'll go over 2.5 years. That's just the way it is. The people that are 1099 or self-employed, they don't take pay stubs. They want your income averaged over a 2-year period. So we need to get your tax returns. Okay. So if you're self-employed, got to have your tax returns. And then, like I said, they don't want to see more than 45% of your income go to your house payment and your overall debts. Jaquan, you know what? I will pull that. I'll be happy to pull that zip code up for you in a little bit. Do you have an address in that zip code? It doesn't really allow me to pull up zip codes, but just let me know what city it is. I can pull it up by city as well. Okay. Now, as far as credit, Harrison Township. Yeah, I can tell you Harrison Township covers, actually has a fair amount of down payment assistance available. I'll run that for you. As far as credit, now, there are a couple of programs that will allow us to currently go down to a 580 credit score. Every now and then, we will get grants that don't have credit scores. And then we can go down to a much lower, typically around 520, okay? I never want to promise those grants that have no credit score requirements because they're not always available, okay? So I can tell you the City of Detroit program did get funding 2 years in a row, but the current administration in Washington isn't really throwing money around right now. So I don't know that the City of Detroit program is going to get funded again. It might. I don't know. If it does, well, I always tell people, reach out to me. Let me put you on my list because if that money does get funded again, I've got a list of people that I'm going to register for it right away. Okay, so make sure you schedule a call with me. In fact, let me put my link to my calendar in here. Here is the link where you can book a call with me. There it is, nodownpaymentrequired.org/book. Click this link and you'll get direct access to my calendar, and then I will call you at whatever time you pick out. Okay. Now, as far as credit, we said 580 is typically the benchmark right now. The higher your credit scores, the more money you qualify for. Remember those two ladies that I showed earlier that had they had several grants that they qualified for. If your scores are 680 or higher, we're able to stack those grants up. Okay. It's becoming harder to do, but it's still possible. Okay. Like I said earlier, if your credit scores are in the 500s, reach out to me. If they're in the low 500s, hey, schedule or basically book a time for my credit repair webinar. Here it is. Here's the link to my credit repair webinar again. Register for it. I go over everything. I'm going to teach you what goes into the credit scores. How do we manipulate the scores? How do we identify low-hanging fruit on your credit report that we can manipulate for a quick spike in your score? How to actually dive into a credit report to read the recording date of your credit so we can manipulate and pay down your cards right before the scores report, just in case you need to charge those things back up. So there's lots of levers to pull and buttons to push to get quick bounces in credit scores. And not to say I've perfected it, but I haven't run across anybody that knows how to manipulate them as well as I do. So anyways, the only thing that really affects things is if we have recent late payments. Okay, recent collections we can sometimes work with, but recent late payments are turning out to be a killer right now. Now, don't confuse medical stuff. If you've got collections for medical or late payments, don't worry about that. Medical items are exempt from the mortgage calculation or algorithm. Okay? So, and here's a link to my credit repair webinar, credit.nodownpaymentrequired.org/home. Okay? Whoops. As far as assets, we touched on this earlier. Typically, if you've got $2,000 to $3,000, no problem. I always tell people, just let me know what your budget is. If you are planning on buying a house and you've only got a few $100s, we'll work out a plan to save the balance between now and the time of closing. You don't need it all up front. Okay? I just need to know where your budget is, being sensitive to putting food on the table. I get that. Okay? That's paramount. But we can always work around things. The other thing I tell people is, so as far as the rest of the money, don't worry about it. Like I told you earlier, that's my job. I will find the down payment assistance and grant money for you. As far as the properties, they do have to be in good habitable condition. Okay? So if you've got a house that's gutted and you're looking for rehab money, these programs will not work. Those are very hard deals to get done right now. Okay. And as the market shifts, and it is shifting right now, don't let anybody tell you different. Okay. The rest of the country is going through a real estate slowdown. It's now hitting our doorstep. It's not quite slower yet, but I will tell you, out of the couple of offers I've made this week, they both went through no problem because the competition is not out there nearly as much as it was 2, 4, 6 months ago. Okay. So good quality houses are servicing and they're just not selling as quickly. So make sure the home is in good habitable condition. I'm not talking about cosmetic stuff. It's got to have a functioning kitchen, bathroom, things like that. Furnace and water heater, don't worry about that as much. Every now and then, again, I run across houses that those are gone and we have to work. We'll get those installed before closing. Now, how do the numbers work? These are how we structure deals. So there's a lot going on in this slide, and I apologize, but look to the left portion, okay? Here, you see the upper left-hand corner, price $150,000. If we take into account, and this is just a fictitious house. Suppose the taxes are $2,000. Closing costs might be $2,000. Homeowners insurance, $1,500. Title insurance would be $1,200. The total amount to buy this sample house would be $6,700, not including a down payment. Now, if you go in the lower left-hand corner, suppose it's going to take a 3% down payment, maybe 3.5% sometimes, but let's just say 3. That's 3. Well, this is actually 4%. 4% of $150,000 is $6,000. We took the closing cost of $6,700. That means the total to purchase this sample house is $12,700. If I get you down payment assistance money of $10,000, which many times is routine for me to get, means the total that you need due is $2,700 between the time we get going and the time of closing. Now, if I get the seller to pay $1,500, then all you'll need is maybe $1,200. Okay. Or if I get the seller to pay $1,200, then you only need $1,500. That's how we start massaging some of those numbers. And there are other ways to chip away at things. Okay. There are lender credits. Depending upon what lender we go with, there could be bank credits. There could be premium pricing. There's all kinds of credits that I can get to whittle these numbers down. And I don't go into detail tonight, but it could be 500 here, 300 there. Okay. And don't get me wrong. Those are lots. It's a lot of money when you got to go out and earn it. I get that. I'm not insensitive to it. But when it comes to a mortgage, they just don't consider that. But those are levers that we can pull and buttons we can push. Now, on this same $150,000 house, the principal and interest payment, if you look in the center towards the bottom on the left-hand side, you'll see $150,000. The principal and interest payment at 6.5% would be $948. The taxes, $208. Homeowners insurance, $125. Mortgage insurance, $75. The total payment for this house might be $1,350. Now, that's, in my mind, right now, that's a solid brick house. In fact, I just had one that I wrote an offer on today, $135 for a solid brick house. It was totally redone. And I think that one's probably going to come in, I think it was $1,100 because the taxes were only $1,000 a year. So I like to be conservative. Okay. I would rather give you higher numbers and tell you it's going to be lower later. The last thing I like, the older I get, are surprises. So I like to put myself in your shoes. I don't know anybody that likes to get surprises when it comes to finances because it's usually the surprises are rarely good. Okay. So those are the numbers. And that's how I structure deals. Now, how do we find houses that actually qualify for some of these programs? Well, I always tell people, go to my website is the best place to start. This, and I know this sounds odd, but I always tell people, start looking for a house. The quicker you start looking, the quicker you're going to get in tune with how your money spends. And I'm a big fan of that. We'll get you approved, whether it's now or a couple of months down the road. We'll get you there eventually. But I find the quicker you identify an area, the type of house that you're looking for, and how your money spends, the easier it's going to be. And what I mean by that is once you identify and learn all of those things, when value is placed in front of you, you're not going to think twice. You're going to go, John, the value's here in this house. Let's make an offer. Let's pull the trigger on it. Okay. So my job is to get you educated on those areas as soon as possible. And I think it's never too soon. Start looking for houses, see how your money spends. I always tell people, if you're want to keep your payments around, 12 to 1,300, try to keep the price about 150,000. If you want to go up to 200,000, it might be $1,500, $1,600. Okay. Certainly a lot less than what it's taking in rent right now. Rents are actually forecasted to go up 5% a year for the next 5 years. And I know that sounds like a lot, but if somebody would have told me 5 years ago that a 2-bedroom apartment would be $1,350 in the Tri-County area, I would have said they were crazy. In fact, I remember 5 years ago, I sold a gentleman, Jack, a house in Livonia, $150,000. He just called me the other day, and he may be looking to possibly sell. His house is now $225,000, but guess what? His payments are still $1,100, roughly about what that 2-bedroom apartment is. So I will tell you, in 5 years, if rents continue to go up at 5% a year, you're going to be looking at a $1,700 a month 2-bedroom apartment. And right now, there was an article printed a couple of weeks ago that said we are anywhere between 3 to 5 million households short for rental market. Okay. And I don't know about you, but I don't see them building any new apartments right now. I take that back. There was an apartment complex going up in Farmington Hills off Haggerty Road I drove by a week ago. First apartment complex I've seen go up after what they promised in COVID. We were going to see a lot of apartments go up. It's not happening. And I can tell you with a high degree of certainty, that apartment in Farmington Hills, I'd be shocked if it's under $1,500 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment. They're not building it for the average person. So anyways, sorry to get on a soapbox and rant there a little bit, but it irks me that a lot of these programs they're just not building for the average person. They're chasing the money. Okay, so how do we locate quality homes? I always tell people right now, I think the best way to spend your time is to look at the houses that have been on the market 2 to 3 weeks. And the reason I say that is even though the market's shifting, a lot of people naturally run to the houses that hit the market today. And as a result, if it's priced right, they tend to bid it up a little bit and overpay. And then what happens? 2 to 3 weeks later, the bank goes out and says, hey, it's not really worth what you think it is. And then the deals start coming apart. I'll tell you, in my opinion, right now, 20% of the deals are falling apart because buyers are waking up. And I say it's like going to the dentist. They give you whatever, Novocaine, ether. 2 weeks afterwards, the ether wears off, and you realize we just paid what for that house? And it only praised for what? And they back out of it. So I always tell people, go after the houses that have been in the market 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, those deals, we want to certainly pin down why is it coming back on the market, or why has it been on the market for a while? Is it because the deal fell apart? Is it because the sellers overpriced it in the beginning and now they're chasing the market? Or is it because the house has a little bit of maintenance issues, or maybe the taxes are way too high, or assessments? There's a lot of reasons, but we can take a deep dive into it, figure out why it's still on the market. And what I like about it is sellers are more flexible because it's been on the market. The market's spoken to them. And maybe they're not sitting on that pot of gold they think they are. So as a result, you're coming in from a better position to negotiate with, okay? And when we're negotiating, hey, maybe we get them to pay our closing costs. Maybe you just get a better deal on it. A lot of things that we can look at. Now, what I tell people is as you're looking for houses, especially online, make sure you don't just flip through those photos as fast as possible. Look at them. Take a look at the roof. Make sure that roof has an architectural shingle, Okay, that usually tells me it's got some life left in it. Their architectural shingles are usually rated for like 25 to 35 years. So make sure that roof's in good shape. Look at the ceilings in all of the rooms. If there's any leaks, you're going to see the discoloration. The guys that do the photoshopping, they don't typically hit the ceilings nearly as much to patch that up on photoshopping. So look at the ceilings, look at the floors. Those can tell stories. And most importantly, whenever I walk into a house, the basement's what tells the story. Is it a dry basement? Has it ever had water in it? Does it have water routinely? Are the walls in good shape? Is the electrical updated? Where are the mechanicals from the furnace? Is the plumbing updated? Things like that. The basement tells the story. So when I look at a house, when I walk up to it, I'm looking at the roof. And then when I walk in, I'm certainly paying attention to as much as I possibly can because I want to see what's the outside like. Is the brick in good shape? Is the wood in good shape? Are the windows updated? And then I naturally go to the basement. Like I said, in my mind, that's where that tells the story. Okay? All right. So that's how we locate good homes. Now, as far as experience, I'm telling you right now, if you want to get into these programs, make sure you hitch your train or your wagon to a train that has experience. Because if you don't have experience getting these transactions across the finish line, it can be done, and it's always a bumpy road, but experience smooths that right out, okay? And I always tell people, do not let a loan officer be your learning partner, okay? The mortgage industry is starting to slow down a little bit, okay? Mortgage applications last week were down 10% year over. So the mortgage industry is, I don't want to say it's desperate, but there's no shortage of people that'll tell you qualify for stuff and just to get you in the door. But keep in mind, if they haven't done these programs routinely, and it's not rocket science, don't get me wrong, but you don't want somebody else to learn off of you. Okay, you don't want these things to take 2 or 3 months to get done. You want them to go just like a regular mortgage. I can't tell you how many times I go to closings and the sellers look at it like, you're getting how much? Because they can see in the closing statement, you just got $25,000, and they couldn't tell because we got it done so quickly. Because I'm going to hook you up with experience from a lender standpoint. Okay, so let me make the introduction to you with a lender. Okay, trying to find these programs on your own. I mean, a lot of lenders offer them, but I want to make sure that they're not going to pivot you or switch you into something that might just be a little bit easier. Without fail, I get a lot of people that come to my webinars, learn about a program, hop online, go to a company like, let's just say Bank of America. They call Bank of America. They end up in their call center in Jacksonville, Florida. They call me 30 days later and say, hey, John, I went to one of your webinars and went to Bank of America, and nobody's helping me. And I'm like, I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do. I don't know that loan officer in the call center in Jacksonville, Florida. If I'm going to help you, I'm going to hook you up with a loan officer that's working here in the Detroit area that I can pick up the phone and go, hey, why is John's loan taking so long? Okay. If I make that introduction for you, I can hold them accountable. Okay. And if they don't return your phone calls, I'm on the horn with them. Hey, why aren't you returning their phone calls? Okay. I'm here to make sure to quarterback this deal the whole way to make sure you get across the finish line. More importantly, I'm going to share your story with them so we can tee it up the right way. I'm going to tell them that, hey, I have John teed up for a $25,000 program through wherever. Okay? Make sure they get that program. That's it. And I'm going to communicate with them the whole way. And like I said, hold them accountable if for any reason they don't respond. The people that I work with are professionals. They work in the departments where these programs are located. Okay. A lot of time, the loan officers in other companies, they don't know about these programs. They'll say yes, and they'll try to learn it as they go, but don't let that happen to you. Okay. Now, my whole thing this evening is to hopefully give you the confidence that you can get things done. And in addition, apply for the job as your realtor. That's what I'm here for. Okay. I'm here to help you identify the programs that are out there, teach you how to pencil it so you're getting in with as very little money out of pocket. Most importantly, keep the payment within your budget. Okay. Again, I don't like surprises. I don't know too many people that do. Okay. We also want to make sure that you're not spinning your wheels. I get a lot of people that say they go somewhere and then they're like, hey, we've made 10 offers. We haven't gotten anything through. Not that it's rocket science, but there's an art to getting these deals accepted on different houses without tipping your hand. You don't have to tell the seller you're using these down payment assistance programs. That's nobody's business but your own. Can they see it at the time of closing? Yeah, possibly, but it doesn't matter then. You're closing. Okay? More importantly, when it comes to negotiating the deal, structuring it so you can get in with as very little money out of pocket as possible, and creating the most favorable contract for you, experience is really what counts. Okay? And I've just been doing this a long time. I've got my license back in 1987. So you do the math. I've been doing this a long time. There's very few types of deals that I haven't done. So very few things can hit my radar that I haven't dealt with before. Okay. So that's the type of experience my team and I bring. Okay. And most importantly, I'm here to navigate you all the way across the finish line and keep your numbers in line. Without fail, every now and then, somebody will get to the closing table and they're like, wait a second. John told me 2,000 is coming in at 3,000. Okay. It happens. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to call the loan officer and go, you know what? Hey, why are we off? Where are we off? Now, if that's something that's on my side, I do enough business where I just ante up. I'll be done with it. Doesn't happen often, but maybe once or twice a year. I'm human. We make mistakes. But I'm the guy that's going to fess up to it. Okay, because I do enough volume that I can. And for me, it's not about the paycheck. It's about getting people into the homes. That's where my heart lies right now. So I want to keep your numbers in line. It used to be when I went out and showed houses, I used to actually, and this is back when I was running ads on Craigslist because it just kind of, it seemed kind of sketchy, I guess. But I would always have people that would question things on our first meeting. And I would actually go out and say, hey, did you talk to the loan officer today? I think, did they tell you it was like 2,000 to 3,000? And they would say yes. And I'm like, did you understand how the numbers all worked out? And I don't know how you are, but sometimes I need to hear things 2 or 3 times for it to settle in. So what I used to do, and I need to start training my salespeople to do this, and my showing agents. I used to actually take a piece of paper out of my notebook and I would go, okay, here's the down payment. Here are the closing costs. Here's the title. Here's the insurance. Here's everything. Bottom line, $13,000. We'll take $10,000 off for the down payment assistance. You'll need $3,000 between now and the time of closing. Is that acceptable? Well, we were hoping for a little bit. Okay, great. Then what we'll have to do is we'll have to ask the seller to pay $1,000. Now it's down to $2,000. So I would actually take it, pencil it out on a car rooftop, and then hand it to people and say, hold on to this. If your numbers don't come in at this, just give it back to me, remind me, and I'll make sure the numbers come in. I never had anybody hand me that piece of paper back because if somebody tells me that, that's what we do. Okay. So anyways, that's where I think experience shines. Now, give you a quick recap because gosh, I've been rambling. Here we are. It's an hour. And I could go over this all night, but let me give you another link. Here you go. This is a link to my calendar so you can schedule an appointment. So this evening, we covered how you're going to tap into all of the programs that are out there. You've got the app. You got the qualifications. You know how we structure the deals to get in with a couple $1,000s or less if needed. You know how to find quality homes and identify homes that have been on the market a couple of weeks because I think that's crucial to finding a fair deal. I don't want to say there's any deals out there right now, but it's getting better. And how it's important to align yourself with quality experience representation. And I think that's where my team and I shine. Now, keep in mind, nodownpayment.app, that's where you're going to find the application. My credit repair webinar, You got the link for that. So where do we go from here? Like I said, schedule a call with me. I want to learn what your goals are. And more importantly, I want to know what's holding you back. Are you in a lease for a little while? Just not sure about things. I get it. I've been there. Heck, even when I bought my last home, when the loan officer told me I couldn't, I'd been through so much financial pain with my businesses going down that in the back of my mind, I didn't think it was going to happen. It wasn't until my wife just kind of basically said, no, it's going to happen. You know this stuff inside and out. So you're talking back then, that's a guy that had, 25 years experience in the industry, still had seeds of doubt. Okay. So the mind is a powerful thing. Don't let the dark side creep in and put those seeds of doubt. People deserve good quality homes. And that's what I'm here to give you. Okay. So I want to know what's holding you back. Okay. Sometimes I think maybe it's just education. Okay. I find the hardest thing for me is the more education I give people, maybe the more confidence I can give them. Or I can give you names and numbers of previous customers. There's no shortage of previous customers out there. Okay. And I always ask people, what's the cost of inaction? Now, don't get me wrong. In a normal rental market, if you're in a good quality rental, hey, it's not such a bad thing. You put your key in the door, you can leave whenever you want. You don't have to worry about the maintenance. But I don't find that there are too many landlords like that anymore. Maybe if you're in some of these high-end apartment complexes, but even the apartment complexes that aren't high-end, there's just no customer service there. So the cost of inaction is time is going to just get a hold of things. And next thing you know, 5 years goes by, that $1,300 a month you're paying in rent is now $1,700. But turn back the hands of time, you're probably missing out on a lot of equity. Because one thing I can tell you is, with the lack of rentals right now and the way that rentals are going up, that is going to prop up this entry-level market. And what I mean by entry-level is people are purchasing below $300,000. That's actually entry-level right now. And in 5 years, maybe that $200,000 house is worth $250,000. So in addition to controlling your house payment, there's going to be some forced savings and some equity you're going to gain along the way. So you're starting to build wealth that's going to take you well into your later years. So that's it. So what questions do we have out there? So let me go back here and let's try and answer some of the questions that people put. All right, Brian Bradshaw, thank you. Good. Okay. iPhone, did I answer your question with regards to chapter 13? You can definitely do it as long as you're in for 12 payments. Okay. 48205, got it. Homes in 48213. Okay, that's going to be about 23 different programs in that zip code as well. Alicia, I appreciate that. Get a lot of people that are tired of renting. All right. Thank you for subscribing to my YouTube channel. Got it. Sade, you know what? I would encourage you to reach out to me to schedule a call. Okay. Once I know what's on your credit, first of all, these programs are always available. Okay. It's just to what degree and how many. Okay. Right now, I know there's 23 in Detroit proper right now. If I go to other areas, let's just say, let me give you one here. Let's pick out some other areas. Here, let's say Warren. Oops, let's go back here because we can do a general search and let's just say, oops, got to type better. Here we go. Warren in Macomb County. Look at 17 programs in Warren. Livonia, Michigan. There you go. 18 programs there. Okay, here we go. Outlook Pontiac 40. Got it. Let's try this one in Pontiac. $20 programs in Pontiac. I think that person asked earlier, Alicia. So let's see where that one takes us. Oh, Alicia, Eastwood, that's going to qualify for 23 different programs. And let's go back here and see what we've got. Okay, here we go. Outlook in Pontiac. Yes, very similar to Detroit. The Federal Home Loan 30,000 looks like the big one right now. So 30,000 is the biggest one in Pontiac right now. Here we go. Eastwood. Okay, Wilshire. Anything in the 482s is going to be 23 programs right now. Harrison Township. Okay, let's see what's going in Harrison Township right now. And there we go. 19 programs in Harrison Township. Good. 618 score. Actually, there's a great zero down grant program in Harrison Township. And that one, if your income's, I think it's below 70,000, there's no mortgage insurance. And the interest rate's very attractive. It's a conventional loan. Great product. That's actually through Flagstar Bank. Sarday, okay, I just started working because I have disability. Is there another program? I'm now a 1099 worker. So with a 1099, we do have to have 2 years tax returns. Schedule a call with me. Happy to go and take a deeper dive in that. Got it. So anytime you are self-employed, they will ask for your tax returns for the past 2 years just to make sure you're not reporting a ton of losses. So sometimes if you have some other income, other than, yeah, so I would schedule a call with me. Shadi, happy to go over your situation. If somebody, Alicia asking, could I get a grant if I work at a school? Absolutely. Yeah, grants are all over. Harrison Township, we ran that one. Do you know about the program at Huntington Bank? You know, Huntington Bank is a lender. So I'm a big fan of the mid-level banks. Okay. Huntington Bank, Flagstar Bank, Independent Bank. Now, one thing I will tell you is when it comes to the complete breadth of products, Flagstar Bank actually has the most. Okay. I like Huntington, but Flagstar's commitment, Huntington, if your scores aren't in the mid 600s, it's a little bit more challenging. Flagstar goes down to a 580 on some of the programs. So for that reason, I like their flexibility and I like their commitment to the underserved communities. That's all. But yes, Huntington, good bank. They do a good job. I just find that they're a little bit more stringent on credit. Now, a lot of the mid-level banks, depending upon how they're wired, okay, they are all basically trying to push money to the streets to comply with, they call it CRE, Community Reinvestment, or CRA, Community Reinvestment Act money, okay? So they are incentivized to push that money to the streets. Now, Flagstar actually has a little bit more money because they're actually owned by a bank out of New York right now. They were just acquired. So they are pushing more money to the streets than I think Huntington Bank is. I think they're actually larger than Huntington is. So keep that in mind. But yes, Huntington Bank's got great programs as well, too. My contact information, Deshaun Powell, thank you so much. I get so caught up on telling everybody things. So you got the call to book, you got a link to book a call here, 248-252-7283. There you go. That's my cell phone number. Do me a favor. Add me to your contacts. John Collins. There you go. Reach out to me. Share my information with as many people. Love passing this message along to the masses. The more people I can help, the better. And I am all over the place. Today, I was at 8 Mile and 75, over to the east side, back to the west side for another one, and actually downriver for the afternoon, too. So I'm all over the map. So always looking for help. If you know of any real estate agents out there that are have a service mindset, always looking for new agents that we just don't have enough agents to service some of the people that need help right now. And when I say service, you have to have a giving mindset, someone that's wired to serve. Melissa, Canton. Good question there. Let's see how Canton shows up. Haven't done that. See Canton. Here we go. Wayne County, Canton, Michigan. How many programs? 17. Got it. Let's see how high those programs go. Get details. And just waiting for the email to come in. There we go. Let me see if I can get a little bit more in depth here. Here is the one for, Canton. Looks like we've got, 17 programs. So when you download the app, you're going to get all of this stuff here. So let's see, 30,000, Federal Home Loan, Bank of New York. And now that one, it's a 5-year loan, 0 interest, that's forgivable. So you keep this loan for 5 years, and the money's yours to keep. No limit, any sales price. Very interesting. Great program. Haven't done one of those ones yet. That's a relatively new program out there. Okay, let me go back. And Chesterfield was another one that somebody mentioned. Let's try Chesterfield in Macomb County. All right. Chesterfield, Macomb County, 16 programs. Hey, someone's saying they have a 572 credit score. Perfect. Schedule a time, book a call with me. I'd be shocked if we couldn't put our two heads together. What I would ask you to do is go out to Credit Karma, go to one of the free sites, get in tune with what's possibly dragging your credit scores down. And I can tell you with a high degree of certainty, you give me 15, 20 minutes on the phone and I will be able to I will tell you what to do to get your score up in a relatively short period of time. Okay? All right. Purnell W. Jameson. Purnell, thank you so much for attending this evening. I appreciate it. Make sure you schedule that call with me, Purnell. Let me give you because I don't see the notes from the chat box here. So Purnell, please click that link and schedule a call with me. What about Lakefront? Boy, Lakefront, it's hard to find Lakefront right now in the area that's, it doesn't matter. You find a house that's in the price range, doesn't matter whether it's Lakefront or not. It's just a lot of these programs are restricted by income levels, maybe debt to income ratios, things like that. It's just, so depending upon where you're looking. But no, you can definitely do that. Jaquan, yep, 618 score, great. Several programs that could work for you right now. Okay. All right. Any other questions out there? I know we're kind of going over our time lot. I always like to build in 1 hour for these webinars. So, but I am here to answer questions as long as you have them this evening. Okay. All right. Well, any other questions before we break this evening? All right. Let me give you a couple of asks that I have here. It's a link to my YouTube channel. Hey, if you could do me a favor, go out there, follow me, hit the subscribe button, hit the alert button. Anytime we upload new content, you'll be made aware of it. And let me give you my Facebook page. If you could please follow me there too. Trying to get those numbers up. I find that, from what I understand, once we get it up to 1,000 followers on each platform, our message will go out to more people. Okay. Now, these programs, oddly enough, are available all over the country. So if I go into, I don't think I can do the search, but let's go out to one of the free sites like Redfin. Okay. And where are we here? Oh, here, Las Vegas. Let's try something instead of Las Vegas. Here, Las Vegas right here, $530,000 in Las Vegas. Let's get something a little bit more realistic. Here we go. Here's one. Las Vegas right there. Let's try that. These programs are available across the country. So if you've got friends or family members, love to be able to help people across the country. Wouldn't that be something? Here you go. Las Vegas, 28 programs. I had actually, my last webinar, I had somebody from Arizona, Connecticut, Atlanta, and I think it might have been New York. Anyways, just great programs. Look at Las Vegas. What's odd, I mean, it's unfortunate, but we don't get nearly as much money as the rest of the country. It's crazy. So if you start looking at some of these other areas, and I don't know Las Vegas, but I guess we'll find out in a second. Let's see what Las Vegas has to offer. $50,000 in Las Vegas. Crazy. And then let's go out to, I had one. Whoops. There we go. Let's try Los Angeles. That was a good one. Don't know what that is, but let's try something. Boy, nothing cheap out there. Let's find something that's more reasonable. Everything's millions out there. It's crazy. Man, let's just try this one. $879,000. And I actually ran one in New York the other day. $250,000. I think it was in Brooklyn. So just crazy amounts. Let's see what it does for. What's odd is that when you look at 44 programs in Los Angeles, insane. Let's see. Okay. Okay. All right. So Los Angeles, $161,000 in Los Angeles. That's a lot of money. Crazy. Let's see what program that is. City of Los Angeles Low Income Purchase Assistance, the LIPA program, $161,000, right in the center of the page there. Wow. Anyways, if you have any family members out west, out east, down south, anybody, oh my gosh, I need to start doing videos for those areas. You know what, Deshaun Powell, you are exactly right. You get excited and then you get scared at the same time. But you know what? I find that the most growth, at least for me, happens when I push myself beyond my comfort zone a little bit. And I think that's the truth for everyone. And sometimes maybe we just need somebody to push us. I mean, this stuff isn't rocket science. And if not for anything else, I tend to give people a pretty clear path of what needs to be done. I hope I'm giving you the confidence to at least schedule a call and maybe learn a little bit more about me or my team. And Jaquan, thank you very much for scheduling the call. So yeah, I get excited too. I get excited when I see all these programs out there, because it's odd that these programs have been out there for years and nobody shines a light on them. It's absolutely crazy. I think we're going to see more people shining a light on them right now, just the way that the mortgage industry is changing so quickly. And what I mean by that, Deshaun Powell, great question. Can two people get into one program? Yes, you can. You have a twin sister. Awesome. Yeah, you can. So I get people that do homes with their sons, daughters, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, grandparents. I mean, what's really odd is now I'm beginning to see more blended households. And what I mean by that, where you see generations, grandparents with grandkids, things like that. So, and the older I get, the cooler I think that is, because it's all about lifting up that next generation. Okay. And the older I get, it's all about family. Very few things in life are as important as family. So I cherish those relationships. So sometimes we have those family members that we need to set good fences with, not trying to be ignorant to that, but I think you know what I mean. So we want to get a house together. It's a great way to do it. So now you can leverage these programs, buy a house together, and maybe buy twice or sometimes maybe 3 times the amount of what you thought. Or maybe just buy a modest home so it's just easier for the both of you. Whatever your goals are, we'll find a plan and we'll adopt a plan to it. Well, Jaquan, I understand there are some people that don't want to help. I get that. I'm not going to sound naive enough. There are some people that there's a lot of selfish people that are just looking to line their own pockets, I guess is the best way to put it. I find that the older I get, you just do the right thing, try to help as many people as you can, and the numbers kind of take care of themselves. I don't know. Now, it's easy for me to say that now that my kids are older and they're on their own and it's just my wife and I. So I certainly understand that. And I don't begrudge someone trying to make a living. I find that sometimes people in real estate, unfortunately, I think real estate is one of those industries that people get into thinking the streets are paved with gold and they can make all kinds of money. And I guess there are people that do that. Me, I'm more of a numbers person. If I'm not constantly moving during the course of a day, it's kind of boring. So I might as well, if I find where I'm out helping someone or talking to someone on the phone and trying to make their life a little bit better, hey, that's a great day. That's a brilliant day for me. Okay. So now, in all fairness, I wasn't always wired this way either. The light bulb didn't go on for me until it was all taken away. But I'm a lot happier man for it. Okay. So hope that makes sense. So thank you. I'm glad you're scheduled a call. Check Monroe, Louisiana. Oh man, that's funny. I will check that. Okay. Do you have family down in Monroe, Louisiana? You know what? I don't think, since I'm in Michigan, I can't check out of state areas, but what we can do is let's go out here and I'll get an exact address. So bear with me 1 second. Monroe. Okay. All right, so there's Monroe, Louisiana. Let's find something here. Here's one there you go. Nice house, 258. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, that's LaSalle, Louisiana. Let's make sure we get Monroe because things can change dramatically from area to area. Let's see what's here. is this? Let's go right up here. Okay, there's one. 156 on Spurgeon. There you go. Nice brick, nice ranch. All right, let's see what this is. Okay. Cut. Paste. 34 programs. Let's see how much money is there, Jaquan. Okay, here we go. 34 programs, $55,000. So that was actually a house. How much was that? So $50,000 on a $155,000 house, that's a lot of money. Where did I put that? In right here. Okay, so let's go back. And $55,000. Louisiana Housing Corporation assisted program, combined assistance up to 50, so up to 20% of the purchase price. So on a $155,000 house, it means 20% of that would be $31,000. So out of the $55,000, you would get 20% of the purchase price. So if you found a $250,000 house, you'd get $50,000. So 20%. So the more you spend, the more you can get. Hope that answers your question. Oh, Deshaun, I'm sorry to hear that. That breaks my heart. If you don't have your health, you don't have much in this world. That's for sure. So, got it. So if she has any income coming in right now, you could actually use her income or maybe her things we can try to add and structure the transaction to leverage things so it works well. Whether she's confined to one floor, we could certainly start looking for like first floor master bedrooms, things to maybe make that transition as easy as heavenly possible. So my thoughts and prayers are with you and your family. That's I can't even imagine. Okay, so your dad's down in Louisiana. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Have your dad reach out to me. Happy to connect him. I understand that he was back in 2004. Yeah, when did I start? 2004. Yes, I was still in the thick of things. I think I went... Gosh, I started out with a company that used to be Rock Financial. When I started there was probably 30 people. When I left, it was probably 1,000. So we had a lot of growth there. And then I went out on my own, probably back in the late 90s. That took us all the way to 2010, I want to say, maybe 11, 12, that area. The years kind of blur together after a while. So, yeah. So actually back then, we were more of a lender broker. Back then, I was doing more rehabilitation loans for a lot of people. So we would find money for people to go and rehab houses in the city. And so actually enjoyed that. I got to learn the city inside and out. Great quality people. Met a lot of good quality tradespeople that way. So unfortunately, things took a turn though. Got it, Deshaun. Well, hey, I'm happy to learn both of your situations, and then we'll figure out what's going to be the best way to go, and I'll let you know how the best way to structure the whole transaction before we put you in. I don't want to put you in touch with a lender till I can tell you with a high degree of likelihood what the best path is going to be. Okay. Well, if asking a question, what about keeping somebody off title? So if somebody is going to be on the loan, they have to be on title. But what we can do is you can actually structure things where it might be titled in both your names, okay? joint ownership with rights of survivorship. So if someone passes away, the house and naturally goes to the next person. Okay. So that's kind of how we want to structure it. Okay. Hope that makes sense. Got it. Premier title. Nice. There's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Most definitely. Thank you so much. You're welcome, Deshaun. Thank you so much for attending. Yes. If your income is enough, you may not need them on the loan. Okay. So, but we'll go over your situation and we'll run the different scenarios and figure out what's the best way to go. Oh, you are welcome. So, hey, don't be shy. Schedule a call with me. I mean, what you see right now is the way I am. I always enjoy talking to people, learning their situation, trying to give you the whatever advice I possibly can. Or in worst case, give you a path forward. Okay. So, all right. Any other questions before we wrap it up this evening? Brian Bradshaw, I feel like you should be playing football somewhere with a name like that. Deshaun Powell, thank you so much. Jaquan Shorter, thank you all so much for attending this evening. I appreciate you spending your Wednesday evening with me. Anything I can ever do, please never hesitate to reach out. Always like to pay it forward. And you'd be surprised how that mindset just keeps the referrals coming in. And I am all about referrals. So if I can ever be honored to help you or your friends or family members, love talking to people and helping them tap into these programs. You are so welcome, Jaquan. Look forward to it. Okay. Thank you all very much for watching. Have a wonderful evening and hope our paths cross again real soon. Have a good night, everyone.